Alright, welcome to another episode of Chattin, man.
So,
Me and your boy Gene here. We about to dive in on another one of these banger episodes.
yes, sir. Let's get it going, man. Let's start off with the first topic, man. Saving versus investing.
Okay. That's a good one. Alright, my boy. So what's your views on investing and saving?
To be honest, I can see how it could be really easily misconstrued, but saving is like you every time you get a check, you put that money away into your savings account, and it's like you're constantly you're penny pinching, things like that, just trying to save every little dollar every year. And the disadvantage of that is that yes, you're building up cash. There's advantages and disadvantages, but the disadvantage is that you're putting all that cash up, and you're kind of losing value year by year as inflation increases. But at the same time, if you have that money, if you're saving that money for a short-term goal, like buy a house, to invest it, something like that, put it away on a CD or something like that, then that's the only way you could really do that, right?
Because you have a purpose at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you have an actual goal.
Right.
Yeah.
But in the long term, that strategy is not going to be beneficial to you, because the opportunity cost of whether you have, for example, the S&P 500, you put in the S&P 500 like an index fund, those perform on average 7-8% annually. So if you put in something like that, the compounded interest that you're accumulating on top of your money would outperform inflation, which is historically over the last 10 years, inflation's been growing at 2 to 5%. If you take out, extreme events like the pandemic, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, absolutely.
So you're not accruing any interest on a savings account, like you mentioned. Most savings accounts sometimes they offer less than 1%. It's crazy.
Doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
But investing will be the opposite, right? Like mentioning the S&P, putting that money in the S&P, putting that money into stocks. That's an advantage, right? Because you'll get that 8% on your money. Or you're investing into real estate, any asset that's appreciating over time. And how things appreciate is because it becomes finite, right? Like, for example, each public company that you can buy stocks in, they only issue a certain amount of shares. And the reason why the price goes up is because there's more demand for those shares, those finite amount of shares. So it's supply and demand. As the demand goes and supply goes down, the price goes up. So that's the supply and demand curve right there, and that's why the asset price goes up. That's the same thing with real estate. Obviously, you can see right now, housing prices are crazy right now.
Super.
Rent, crazy right now.
Stupid.
We should really go into. We should really be talking about that right now. Crazy.
No, it is. It's only going up from here, man. Seriously.
Yeah. But that's the main that's the main thing about investing. But on the contrary, the downside of investing is risk. You know what I mean? When you're saving, there's less risk.
Right.
When you're investing, there's risk, depending on what you're investing in.
Right, depending on what you're investing in, for sure. But the rich people do, though, when it comes to the risk, let's say with COVID, when COVID happened,
yeah,
the stock market, everything went down.
Yeah.
The rich seen that as an opportunity. Obviously we didn't know at the time, because we weren't really investing yet until a little bit after the pandemic, the main pandemic, 2020. So now us realizing how that works, I understand it's a high risk, but you're not gonna lose though. You're not gonna lose. You know what I'm saying? When all that goes down, invest anyway. Because historically speaking, we've seen that if you look at the chart of stock market for the last, let's say, 50 years, even with the two recessions that we've had? There's 2 recessions so far?
In the last 50 years?
Yeah, 50 years.
Maybe 3.
Is it 3?
3, maybe 2 or 3, yeah.
Okay, 2 or 3. But when you look at the chart, it's like a upwards, down, back up. But that upward is up. You know what I'm saying?
It's always above that.
It's always up. So when the next time it went down, it didn't go down where that first one was.
Yeah.
And then it goes back up. And then when it goes down again, it's not down like that second one was.
Yeah.
So if it does happen again, it's the same thing. Rich people, they look for these opportunities for the market to be down, to invest all their money into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Poor people, or not poor people, but people who, I can't say poor people. The people who are investing already at that time, they see the market go down, so they sell. But the real small ones, you buy.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's one thing that I realized too throughout my years of, doing due diligence and investing in the stock market and mutual funds and stuff like that. You really just got to take the chance, take the risk. I mean, look at the prime example like Warren Buffett. He never stopped investing no matter what.
Right.
Look where he is today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he's been investing for like 80 years or whatever, which is phenomenal in itself, but why can't you? Why can't me? Why can't anybody listening? You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, I bet you he has no regrets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think he's one of the best examples as far as being a role model in this stock market game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and not only just like that just stocks too, like other good investors. I mean, you've seen people come on the other side. Mark Cuban is a great example.
Oh yeah.
I didn't like the whole thing with him signing the Dallas Mavericks. I thought that was a weird move, but he knew what he was doing there. You see athletes doing that. LeBron's a pretty good investor. Got a soccer team.
Oh yeah, LeBron is investing in so many different things.
Like, you know what I mean? It has the wine stuff, has the movie stuff.
Baseball team.
Right.
Pizza, Blaze Pizza.
Right, Shaq is another because Shaq's one of the best.
Shaq is probably the best. Nah, I say Shaq is the second best. The first best, I don't remember his name, so I can't even tell you right now.
I mean, Jordan.
He got, actually, the one I'm thinking about, he got his net worth up to $600 million, and you don't even know his name.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, and he wasn't a big star.
He was not a big star. He did not make that much in the league.
Yeah, he probably was the best.
He flipped that.
But he put the money in the right spot. I know what you're talking about. I gotta look him up.
Yeah, we can. Okay.
You wanna look him up?
Yeah. All right, so hold on. So there's been guys who made a lot of money through investing, where it really shows it's not how much you made, it's how much you're willing to invest. Like the NBA player, Junior Bridgman, he made less than $1 million in the league, and then he flipped it to $500 million. Or more than $500 million. I think when he passed away, his net worth was at $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
He made them less than $1 million in the league, and then flipped it to $1 billion. There's stories where we heard of, I think it was like a janitor who was saving his money and investing it, and then when he died, his family didn't know. But I think he was worth millions of dollars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's instances of that where it's just longevity.
I think he invested. I think that guy though, he invested into like I think he's like investing into like Apple or some shit though.
Yeah, I think it was something like that.
Yeah, it was like some crazy shit.
Throughout the years, just kept putting his bread in, kept putting his bread in.
Facts.
He's playing the long game.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And nobody knew.
Yeah.
I'm just like, yo, that's crazy. You know, a lot of people who, make a lot of money, it's like you're not thinking about how high their overhead is, like the lifestyle inflation. And it's really not, it goes back to what I just said, it's really not how much you make, it's how much you're willing to invest.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking about that though, how do you start investing?
How do you start investing? Well, I started investing on this app called Stash. What do you use?
I use Robinhood.
You use Robinhood.
That's how I use it.
Robinhood is definitely the most popular brokerage account. But either or, because I have Robinhood too, I just don't use it so often. I find Stash is more, was more my taste. Don't ask me why. I don't have a specific reason why I use Stash. I just, ever since I've been on it,
It just got you hooked in.
it just, you know what I'm saying? It just got me hooked into it for real, you know what I mean? And like I mentioned before, like a little after like the main pandemic, I say 2021, you know, just being stuck cooped in the crib, I'm just like, damn. Thinking of and seeing all these people, you know, getting laid off. You know, that's definitely a time period where a lot of people started starting their own businesses.
Yeah.
And really having so much time in the crib to think about what they're going to do in the future.
Right.
So me, I'm coming across all these investing videos because I always wanted to get into it.
Right.
But me and my mindset, you know, growing up, I didn't grow up with anybody who invests in stocks, so I didn't know how to do it. The whole time I'm thinking that you got to invest in a whole share. Like if Apple share is 150, I'm thinking you got to put the whole 150 in. So just not even having the courage to really just, you know, go for it.
Yeah.
So, you know, having all that time in the crib, I'm like, okay, why don't I just Google it? We could keep this short and sweet, right? When we talk about how to invest, you use Robinhood, I use Stash. All you need to do, look around your crib, see what brands are around you, what brands you like, you know what I'm saying, the brands that, you know, you use every day, and, you know, you go onto these apps, Stash or Robinhood or whatever the hell you use, public, and you invest whatever you want. If it's $1, $5, $10, and just make sure that you're doing it recurringly. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to put, you know, automatic payment out of your bank account, $10 every week, you wouldn't even notice it. You know what I'm saying? Just let it flow, keep it flowing. For example, like the juggernauts, the dividend kings, the Microsofts, the Apples, Tesla, one of these new AI companies that are coming out, like things that you know won't fail. You know what I'm saying? S&P 500. Most of them is like the index funds, the VOOs, VTOs, VTIs. Those companies, they ain't going nowhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the safe side. I mean, it's the same as like for your job, the 401k. Basically, what they're doing is, well, the companies that match, they're just like top tier. If you don't match, I wouldn't even do it because I don't do it at once. What they're doing is putting your money in index funds, S&P 500. That's all they're pretty much doing. So it's like they're doing it for you. I don't know how they obtain a return themselves for doing it, but they do it. You know what I mean? So how do you feel about it?
It's not supposed to be something that they're making money on. It's an employee-sponsored plan.
You say they don't make money off it?
They're not like the front, like the company that's sponsoring you.
Yeah.
No, they're not supposed to make any money. It's not like a profitable. It's not for profit. 401k plans.
I didn't know that.
It's an employee-sponsored plan. Basically, it's kind of like an addition. Like if they are matching, it's kind of an addition to, like, you know, it's like additional, like, you know, wage, like not wage, I wouldn't call it, but additional like compensation.
Right.
In that regard, and it's pre-tax, but there's definitely incentives on the backside, obviously, that they're getting, you know, and maybe there may be some tax implications there that you can discuss. But 401ks are a good vehicle, just like you mentioned. Like, you know, they give you options, and when it's an employee-sponsored plan, there's obviously the options they give you are basically, it's like a product that's offered to the company when they get involved with these 401k plans, and they choose a product basically, and from the product there's various different ETFs or like that you were mentioning that you can choose from those. And it depends which company it is. Like, for example, like if you get a 401k from like a bank, then they'll probably there's too much there's too much conflict of interest for banks because banks are lending out money, and sometimes they can be lending out money to the companies that you are investing in. So you can't invest into those companies that they're investing money to. So, so you know, it would just be that their product that they're offering to you will be curtailed specifically to away from those investments, so that they don't create some type of conflict of interest, right? Because ultimately, when you are investing, you own a piece of that company. It might be a small piece, it might be a larger piece. Some people might own larger pieces, but you're an owner. You're on the ownership side. I mean, you get quarterly statements, financial statements from them. I mean, some people read them, some people don't, right?
Yeah,
but
you can answer, and you could answer your
yeah,
emails, and and you could attend the meetings. I don't know what the meetings are, the Zoom meetings.
Yeah, you know, they're kind of like
because I get the email all the time.
Yeah, you know, the shareholder meetings.
Yeah, shareholder meetings.
And
yeah.
you
I
got
guess they keep you up to
and
date.
and that means you have a vote. Like, you know what I mean? So how many shares you have, everyone could vote. You know, on certain things, like do they want the CEO to get out of here? Like, let's all vote. They can vote you out. And that's kind of why I kind of don't like that kind of structure. Like, you know what I mean? Like taking on investors. But I mean, obviously, like if you want to get to like $1 billion company, you can't get there. You're probably gonna get, you probably need some type of investment. If it's not even from individual, it's probably gonna come from some type of institution.
Right, that makes sense.
And you're gonna give up some type of shares. Like the more money you take from a bank, the more they're gonna want, and they're probably not gonna just want money and show your credit score. Like they're probably just want a piece of the company as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, absolutely.
And then like, you know, yeah. So that's really investing. I mean, investing, like I mentioned before,
it's pretty simple. I mean,
yeah.
Like seriously,
we really only talked about the investment from a securities perspective. We didn't even talk about like the other investment you can do. Like the number one thing that you should be investing in is into yourself. You know what I'm saying? Building skills, taking risk out there. You know, people take that for granted. Like, you know what I mean? Because that can lead to other more income. That can lead to more opportunities, and just investing into yourself, learning as much as you can.
Yeah, skills is number one.
Yeah, 100%.
Skills is definitely number one.
Skills,
absolutely.
Investing into a network, investing into your confidence, investing into, you know, even sometimes to the extent the way you look, the way you dress, you know what I mean? Like that could help, you know? And
That's very true.
You know, and I think out of all those, the most important thing is just like investing into like your mindset, like your mental health, like making sure you're always in a good space, you're always happy. Having that reset mentality, even when things are going bad, just like don't let it snowball into other things. Like I feel like when growing up, like I would say, like, you know, we went to high school together, like, you know what I'm saying, like some of the biggest things that I wish I had invested in was just like into a stronger mindset. Like I felt like if when things were bad, bad things were happening to me, I felt like I just let it snowball into other shit, and I just had to learn over time. And it took some intervention from other people to like for me to realize that was happening, because, you know, just like Kyrie said, like, you know, like Kyrie like took that little hiatus right from the NBA we were talking about earlier, because he didn't really know, like, and you know, like burn some bridges with some of the teams just off the strength that he didn't know how to communicate it.
Right.
I felt like when I was in high school I could relate to that, because I felt like I burnt so many bridges because I was upset. I couldn't even explain how I was upset. You know what I mean? So just really investing into that, like, you know, a stronger mindset.